Welcome to another edition of the Franklin Community High School Career Exploration Project. Today, we have with us Holly Vaught, who is an optometrist at the Vaught Family Eye Care. Holly, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so just tell me a little bit about your career. You just look at people's eyes, right? That's it?
Nothing. I do all day long. That's all I do all day long. So yeah, I've been doing this. I graduated in 2009, so I've been doing this for about 11 years now. I bought this practice here in Franklin, so I own it and I run it, which is nice. So I'm my own boss, which I really like. But I've been here in Franklin for about 6 years now. So, and I love it. I look at people's eyes all day. I get to talk to people all day. I really like the social aspect of my job and just getting to meet new people. And
So where did you go to school to get this education?
Yeah, so I did my undergrad at Hanover College, which I say that in Franklin, and I usually get booed.
We can't all go to good schools. Some of us have to go to second rate.
Some of us have to go to Hanover. So yeah, so I did my undergrad at Hanover. I got a degree in biology from there, and then I applied to IU for optometry school. So IU is the only optometry school in the state. I think at this point, there's about 20 optometry schools around the country, but IU is the only one in the state of Indiana. So that's where I applied and got in. And then that's another 4 years after undergrad to get your doctorate.
So you made up for it. You went to IU, but so we'll be okay with this.
Okay, fair enough.
We can continue this interview. What led you into this? I mean, was it something you'd known as a little kid, or kind of how was it?
Yeah, so I've worn glasses. I got my first pair of glasses when I was 6, and I was that kid who got a pair of glasses and said, "Oh, look, the trees have leaves." I mean, my vision was that bad. So it's something that's been a part of my life forever, that I've always been interested in, but really kind of pushed me towards it. Hanover, for all of its faults, it does have I got a good education there, but they had my freshman year a panel that they brought in that it was called an alternative to medical school. So I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field, but I just wasn't sure kind of what direction I wanted to go. And so they had this panel where they had someone from the optometry school, they had someone from a vet school, they had someone from a dental school, chiropractic school, to just come in and talk to us about what some of the other options were, because what you hear about all the time is medical school. And that's what I assumed I would do, but I just wasn't sure. And so when I talked to the representative from IU, from the optometry school, that's when I really started to get more interested in it and decided that was the route I wanted to go.
Okay. So really it all just started with you having bad eyesight.
Yes. From me being blind. Absolutely.
I could have gone that route then, I guess. You could have been interviewing me.
That's true. Yeah.
So you've talked about the talking to people, the social aspect, and helping people. That's good things about your job. What are some other pros that you see? And then what are a couple things you don't like? It's okay. It's just me and you. We won't tell anyone.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the actual job itself, I love my job. I love talking to people all day long. I love helping them see. I mean, it's not just about glasses and contacts. That's primarily what I do, but also monitoring people for diseases like macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, all of those things. We do those here. And so every patient I see, it's something different. It's not monotonous. I get something different every day. So that's good. I really don't have any complaints about the job itself. Kind of the only downside for me is some of the administrative stuff that comes with actually owning my business. Right. So not every eye doctor does it the way that I do it. A lot of my colleagues work for other people. So they don't have to do the administrative side of it with the payroll and the, accounting and having to hire staff and occasionally fire staff, which is not my favorite part. So I don't mind doing those things, but those are probably the more stressful parts of my job that sometimes I think, oh, maybe it would be nice to just go work for someone else and just do the eye doctor part of it. But the advantages to doing it the way I do it is when I want a day off, I just take a day off, which is nice. So, I control my own schedule and I control my own hours, and I really don't have to answer to anyone else. So there's pros and cons to doing it that way.
Yeah, definitely. So have you ever like, do you get nervous when you're doing things with people's eyes? Like, am I going to mess up? And I mean, or is that something that you get over in time?
You get over that in time. I remember being that way straight out of school. The very first patient I saw ever by myself, I was a nervous wreck. So, but after 11 years of doing it, not so much anymore. There's the occasional patient where something is going on and I have no idea what it is. And so that still happens even to this day. You're always going to have patients where there's something that you don't know what it is and you have to send them to someone else. But so those things are a little nerve-wracking, but not as much anymore as I used to, I guess is the, is the answer to that question.
Yeah, I guess that would come with time. You would just be like, yeah, that would make sense. So what type of person would be in your role would be good? What type of personality, and what type of person or personality may not be as successful in your position?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely going to be someone who likes science and likes math, because there's a lot of science and math and optics and all of those things. So if that's not your thing, then this probably isn't the route you want to go. I spend my entire day talking to people and having conversations with people. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like to talk to people, it's probably not a good idea. It's not just about checking people's eyes. You have to have a good chairside manner too, or those patients aren't going to want to come back and see you the next year if they don't like you.
Right,
So you've got to be personable. So, if your preference, if you really like eyes, but you don't like to talk to people, there are options with going into research. So I know some of my classmates from optometry school, they went through optometry school, they got their doctorate, but they went the research route. So there's options with those things too. If it's something that interests you, but you think, I don't want to talk to people all day long, you can sit in a lab and research about the things that I'm doing out here in front of people. So, which we need those too. So.
Right. Yeah. You got to find out what goes on behind it every once in a while.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So all this fancy equipment that I have, somebody's creating that, and I need those people to create it so I can use it. So
it's a cyclical world we live in. So as far as preparation for someone, whether it's high school and classes or anything, what type of preparation could we have for someone?
So, the biggest thing, and probably the hardest part I struggled with, I went to a very, very small high school. I had 65 people in my graduating class. It was K through 12 all in one building. It was a very, very small school. So we didn't have AP classes and those types of things that they have now, but I wasn't as prepared with the base knowledge of science and math as I should have been going to college. So I really struggled my freshman and sophomore year kind of catching up with that. So from my experience, the best advice I could give is be sure you're getting that base knowledge in high school with math and science, with your calculus and things like that, so that you're not as behind whenever you get to college. Because if this is something you want to do, you're going to be taking higher level biology courses and higher level math courses, because those things are all prerequisites to apply to optometry school. You have to take those. So,
okay. All right. Going to get you out of here on this one. Need some advice, general advice for high school students. What would it be for you?
General advice as far as careers go?
Anything. General, like life. Probably even more so life, just because you've given us a lot of good career advice. I want to hear some life advice.
Life advice. I think my life advice would be enjoy it. You will figure out what you want to do eventually. You don't have to figure out what you want to do tomorrow. When I graduated from high school, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I changed my mind within, 12 months. So, just enjoy it. Enjoy if you decide to go to college, great. If you decide college isn't for you and you want to do something else, that's great too. College isn't the route to go for everybody. So that was the route to go for me. And if you want to do something like what I'm doing, that's the only option. But there are so many careers out there that don't even require college. So, enjoy yourself in high school now, and don't worry too much about figuring out what you want to do. It'll come.
Yeah, great advice. And that's been a very well repeated theme in these advices. Just, don't worry about it. And what you think you want to do right now is not what you're going to probably end up doing down the road.
Exactly.
So, once again, Dr. Holly Vaught, I said I didn't put doctor in front of it,
It's
and
okay. I'm not offended at all.
she sent me an email during this saying it's doctor. So it's
Oh.
sorry. Dr. Holly Vaught, the optometrist and owner at Vaught Family Eye Care. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.